Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ben Lake. Um, I'm out here starting this podcast. This will be my first episode. I'm naming it Why We Serve. Um, my goal with this entire thing, I'm trying to understand why people serve in the military, why they signed up, why they stay in, what their goals are, what keeps them going or what kept them not continuing service. Myself, I'm at 8 years right now, and I really am at a crossroads in my life where I'm trying to figure out, do I want to keep going with this and make it a career full 20, get that retirement, or do I want to go try to fulfill something else, have a more solid home life, all that stuff that we all dream about, but we still struggle with daily. This is for me a personal endeavor just to get some answers, I guess, to my own life. But then I hope that other people that are listening, you can find some answers into either why you're still serving or why you took a different route. I have a couple buddies I'll probably start off with. They got out after about a 4 or 5 year contract. They live in my home state, doing their life. And then, right now I'm a drill sergeant over at Fort Leonard Wood. So I got a couple people there that are in the midst of their careers as well, that I'm hoping to get a couple good viewpoints from, as well as I think going to talk to a couple, privates that just joined, all this is in the works. I'm just starting off here today. So I'm going to go kind of over my stuff first, I guess, why I joined, just to give a little backstory on my life. So whoever's listening, at least you kind of understand where I'm coming from. I'm 30 years old right now. I was born out in St. Louis, but I spent most of my life out here in a little town called Vienna, Missouri. It's real 500 people. We lived on this small little deer farm. That's like a whole thing in of itself, but spent my time there. Real small school. The goal was always to go to college eventually, but you get there, I may have partied a little too hard, and not really had my priorities in line. For about those first year, I was at a Missouri State. I got expelled from there, just wasn't putting in the effort, screwed around, and, they said, try again later. So I left there. I found out I could still go. So I went to Ozark Technical Community College and screwed around even more. And between that and trying to cover bills and stuff, it just did not work out. And, this is obviously a progression, right? So, you leave out of high school, you think you got the world in the palm of your hand, and get smacked down pretty hard when you find out, finances in real life, trying to balance that work life, fun life, professional life, whatever. All this stuff kept going. I fail at community college, and then I come back to my hometown, which most of us who have small towns like this, that's the last thing you want to do when you're 20 years old if you moved away, is have to come back to where it all started. I got the typical manual labor jobs around here that everybody gets, window manufacturer, Walmart distribution, Buffalo Wild Wings, just these rough jobs that are not a career, they're jobs. So and maybe they are for some, but it wasn't for me, I guess is what I'm saying. Obviously I saw it as that situation where I need to make some money, and that's what I was doing, but saw my life was going nowhere. And in my head I'm just like, what am I doing out here? And thankfully my buddies, two of them, they served one of them served pretty much right after high school, another one about a year after. One was Navy, who served for about 4 years. I think he'll be my first guest, actually, Vince. He served way overseas, and then in the Navy. And then my other buddy, Ryan, who is also from here, he served in the Army Um, Traveled a little bit, not too much. He got stationed here actually, so he never really. I guess he lived in Texas for a couple years, but he moved back pretty quick. So thankfully, they would always come back home and they saw me, and I'd just be like, what am I doing? And they seemed like their life was pretty solid at that point, which is funny now coming, from the inside of it. You're like, man, ain't nobody got their stuff together. So I went to Recruiter, tried signing up, just checking it out. And at this point in my life, I'm 6'2", I weighed 270, 280 walking around, just a beer drinking Midwest kid, just not taking care of myself. And I go to the Recruiter, but I got a good test score, so I got offered this real awesome gig. It was a cryptological analyst where you go to school for it all and stuff. And I was about to ship out for it, and I couldn't get clearance. You had to get clearance prior to shipping, and I could not get it because I had bad credit from all the craziness back in my younger days. So they were like, here's a list of jobs you'll be able to take right now. I'm like, okay. So I look into it. I go, I think I had like infantry, watercraft operator, and then this thing called CBRN, which is chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear. It's a CBRN specialist. So like, all the, back in the old days, the, chem attacks, like gas attacks. Nowadays, a lot of it, the bio threats like anthrax, radiological, like nuclear bombs or dirty bombs that have radiological elements to them. That's the stuff they say that we're supposed to, that's like we're the subject matter expert on, is how to keep the Army safe from that, our units. And so I was like, well, that sounds kind of cool. And it comes with a civilian hazmat cert. So I was like, all right, I'll take that one. And I shipped out for basic. Let's cut forward a bit. That's a whole different, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole too hard right now of my basic and AIT experiences, but, my first 3 years, I was still private. I joined as a fuzzy, which is E1 for people not in the military. It's the lowest rank you can actually start at. And I worked my way up. I got promoted pretty quick. I was making, all the waivers you need to get different types of promotions and stuff up to specialist. I went to the board for my sergeant, which is E5, which is, you're a non-commissioned officer. So you get a little more responsibility, a little more respect from your peers. You're in charge of actual people's lives at that point, taking care of them, which, for me, that's like one of my favorite parts of the job, is taking care of other people, not yourself. That freaking value of, selfless service, just helping other people because they need help. That's probably my favorite thing to do at work now. But anyway, I get to that level at 2.5 years, I believe, or 3 years, which is pretty decently quick. And then at this point in my life, this is also when I get married to my wife, Danielle. She was also in for about 3 years, maybe a little under, I'm not sure. She was a medic, and so we were both active. We had our first child pretty quick out the gate, and we're both doing all this stuff, and then I get hit with the overseas assignment. So that's a whole, that, let's fast forward again, because, that I might talk about later, I might not, I don't know, but that was a whole thing, right? I spent a whole year overseas with my wife, who was with our brand new child and also pregnant, having a child halfway through my overseas assignment. So after that, we got 2 kids, I head out to Colorado for my next assignment. I go to Colorado. I'm a staff sergeant at this point now. I got promoted en route from there, and staff sergeant in E6, you're kind of like they still consider you a junior non-commissioned officer, but the staff sergeants of the Army, and I don't really know about, I'm pretty sure Marines and Navy and Air Force probably can attest to it as well. Those staff sergeants kind of run the Army. not in a sense of making decisions, but executing, getting shit done, getting everything you need, taking care of everybody underneath them, as well as trying to make sure that everybody above them is accomplishing their task and stuff by you implementing that across the unit. So, I go hard charging in that unit. I'm a new airborne soldier, and then COVID hits, and that was rough on a lot of people. But for me, actually, I got to stay home pretty much for 6 months with my family in Colorado, and I lived out in this little tiny town, but it was beautiful. I ran all the time out in the mountains and stuff. I mean, I loved it, but I lost that sense of drive, that I had when I was a private, of getting missions accomplished, getting work done for people, figuring out what to do next. Now I'm like focusing on my family life. I got 2 kids. My wife got pregnant again out there, so we had our 3rd child in Colorado, and we got all these kids running around. I'm active duty, and then she was going to college as well. So all this mixed in, and then I got that big break, which was good, but then I got brought up on these drill sergeant orders. And anyone around here knows, obviously, that has served, the life of a drill sergeant is very rigorous. And I had to prep in my mind for that, because I'm so used to being off. I was in a unit with a little more like lackadaisical standards, I suppose. Not like dirt bags or anything, just, had a little more fun at work. Didn't have to adhere to everything so rigidly, I guess. There's a little more leeway, and it made a very positive environment. But I'm going into this other unit where I'm expected to be like this hard charging, I know the reg, I'm going to take care of all these soldiers. I get over there, and, the life was just very crushing at first, 14, 16-hour days. I live an hour away from work, so the commute, all this stuff, and my wife, again, 4th child here. That was my final one, I swear. But 4 kids, while I'm doing this drill sergeant stuff. I'm going to school full time. My wife's going to school full time. And I think anyone that's been in for this I think everybody gets that feeling after about 5 years. You're like, do I really want to keep doing this? So that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I just signed up for a 3rd year so I could stay with my family. But at the same time, I'm like, do I want to keep doing this? Because even when I get out of here, rotations to, Europe, Korea, some Africa missions, some of these other random places, you can end up anywhere. And I'm really trying to figure out in my mind, why don't I want to stay in? Because obviously a lot of us know the reasons why you do stay in at this point, especially with my 4 kids. I got insurance, it's the cheapest insurance you can get for that much coverage. It's free. I got free college while I'm in. I use my TA right now. I'm a couple months away from a bachelor's degree, so that's all paid for. No money out of pocket. I got a decent enough salary. It's hard to find a freaking job right now that's going to pay me what I make right now, and cover all the insurance bills and stuff. My wife gets seen by a bit of doctors, my kids get seen by a bit of doctors, and then me, I'm starting to have injuries myself. So I'm trying to figure out what do I really want to do with it. And I guess my reason for getting out, I already have this house in my hometown with my family near me and stuff. I guess I'm just real worried about, I think everybody gets that anxiousness of, if I get out, am I going to be able to keep my lifestyle up with my family, support them? Because that's all I freaking care about, is making sure that my family is supported and okay. I really want them to be all right living. And we've developed obviously we struggle here and there, but we have a pretty decent life right now, and I want to keep that going and make it more positive, not negative, as time progresses. So I'm gonna try to get some questions answered while I do this podcast. I think I'm putting this one out, and then I'm gonna I'm gonna do one with my buddy Vince, I think sometime this week, so I can really hear his perspective on him getting out, because he has his own situations and stuff. But I hope people will reach out, if you're interested in talking about it, or you got some pointers for me, or if you want me to talk about something. I 100% I'm down for it. I wanted to start doing this because it seems kind of therapeutic. I listen to podcasts, and it's nice hearing people discuss what you think about, and I'm wanting to get my thoughts out in the air, to relieve my mind, as well as maybe get some of y'all thinking as well, and get your opinions over to me, because there's a whole lot of opinions on the military right now, I think, especially by those that have served. And whether you love it or hate it, you got a voice for it, and I'm here for it. So thanks for listening. I hope I can get some more stuff out there. I hope I can get a better setup, too, for recording. And till next time, I hope you had a good time listening.